But what can we do with this information? By looking at where operators are running a lighter timetable than in 2020 or are running with lower loadings, we can understand where there is capacity to rapidly increase the number of available seats to ease overcrowding and, crucially, drive revenue growth. It also gives us a clear picture of those operators that are currently flat out and require wider investment to drive growth. This is shown here. For the operators up at the top of this list, the majority are running fewer trains today than in 2020, and so this presents the most straightforward route to growth. In the case of GWR, TfW Rail, London Overground and Merseyrail, where the timetable is at or slightly above 2020 levels, the only option for growth is increasing average train loadings. Ways this can be achieved include widening the use of demand-responsive fares, or reducing fares outright, or by using longer trains. For 6 operators, between 20 to 35% growth is possible by taking these measures. Another 6, by the way, that is the top 6 here. There we go. So that's Heathrow Express, South Eastern, Chiltern Railways, C2C, Govia Thameslink Railway and South Western Railway. So those are the ones where services have been fairly substantially cut and loadings are down. The next 6, though, can unlock 10 to 20% growth, with cross-country very much at the top of this second group. As an operator renowned for overcrowding, a new fleet of longer trains running to the 2020 timetable could provide significant relief and room for growth. Have a look at this. Cross-country. You don't want to make those trains any more overcrowded, but you can absolutely run a denser service and get nearly 20% growth as a result. But what of the operators with no room for quick growth? These are Hull Trains, LNER, East Midlands Railway and Grand Central. Both LNER and EMR are running trains with loadings almost 20% above 2020 levels. For Hull Trains, that figure's 45%. I suspect that huge number is influenced by the operator still running the Atalantes, as part of a mixed fleet in 2020. They're still bringing in the new Paragon and sort of Hitachis. And the 180s have smaller seating capacity. For those operators on the East Coast Main Line, the extremely dense December 2025 timetable has essentially filled every available slot on that railway while squeezing intermediate stops and services as much as politically palatable. The only way to improve capacity on the East Coast Main Line without entirely excluding local services is with new infrastructure. Once again, this is what HS2's Eastern leg via the East Midlands and Yorkshire would have achieved. All of this ties into a final crucial point that remains poorly communicated. GB rail usage is now at 110% of pre-COVID levels, while car usage has lagged behind since 2024. Only since April this year has car demand relative to pre-COVID levels started catching up with relative rail passenger demand. Given current policy decisions, this makes sense. Prior to the pandemic, the railways were saturated. As we've discussed already, across almost half of operators and all of the long-distance operators, trains are more overcrowded now than they were in 2020. As was the case in 2020, we have a diminishing ability to expand, particularly on the mainline corridors, so growth in passenger numbers will slow. We will see this line flatten out as we essentially reach the same saturation point we were before 2020 when I was going on and on and on about high-speed rail and HS2 repeatedly until I went blue in the face.